Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host, Bad Guy Ibra, and honestly, mate, there's not a single boxing fan in this world who I believe is not disappointed with what's materialized in the past couple of days. We've got former WBC heavyweight champion in Deontay Wilder wanting to come back again to fight Tyson Fury when the bout between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury was scheduled to happen. The bout that we've all been waiting for, and obviously now Tyson Fury accepted the bout against Deontay Wilder for the third time instead of the bout against Anthony Joshua. And honestly, I'm just absolutely disappointed as a boxing fan. I don't know how you feel, but I'm disappointed, and this begs the question: on is Tyson Fury scared of Anthony Joshua? It really begs the question because if you pay attention carefully, pay attention to what's been going on, both the practical side of boxing and the business side of boxing. Tyson Fury, when Deontay Wilder signed the contract, when he won the case of essentially getting a rematch against Tyson Fury for the third time, he's already signed the contract 3 days prior. Eddie Hearn, who's the promoter of Matchroom Boxing, he has fought really well in ensuring that Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury should take place. But Queensberry Promotion, Frank Warren, and Tyson Fury barely fought in terms of like wanting the Anthony Joshua fight to happen. Now, if you're a boxing fan, I'm talking about the average Joe, or you're just any boxing fan, doesn't that make you feel like, okay, maybe Tyson Fury might be scared of Anthony Joshua? And if you feel like that, that's justifiable. That's justifiable. This bout was meant to happen. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the problem. Initially, this has always been the problem with boxing. If we pay it as much as I love boxing, however, this is the dark side of our sport. If you pay attention to other sports, obviously I'm a fan of the UFC as well, but the UFC is like one promotion of mixed martial arts, although it's technically competing with other promotions like Bellator. So UFC is like the top dog, whereas in boxing, there's a plethora, there's multitude of promotions in boxing, but although the competition is not, it's barely anything in comparison to other sports, right? But the business side is what messes it up for us. It really does, because now you've got Tyson Fury and you've got Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, who wants to be the A side, who wants to be the B side, and everyone is just, everyone's, there's too much ego involved, and you know this. I mean, we're talking about, essentially, let's compare boxing now to boxing in the 80s, when you had the greats back in the 80s, like Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, and you've got Marvelous Marvin Hagler. The list goes on. When these people were competing, these people probably were from different promotions, but those people had the capability, right, to make these fights happen without some form of weird corruption or arguments and nonsense going on. But today, it's a struggle, although I'm going to give all the credit to Eddie Hearn because he's done his best to make the fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury materialize. It's not happening. Fury knows, because the first time he fought Deontay Wilder, obviously the knockdown happened and Wilder knocked him down and people thought Fury was out. But he got back up on his feet, and officially the bout was a draw. The second fight, he beat the hell out of Deontay Wilder. So for him, Deontay Wilder is an easy fight than Anthony Joshua. We all know this. Anthony Joshua is a boxer puncher. He can box at the same time. He can actually fight Deontay Wilder. I mean, essentially he just needs one thing to go right for him to win the fight because of his devastating power. But overall, his boxing skills in comparison to Tyson Fury is inferior. Technically, to him, it feels like Wilder is an easy fight. That's why he picked him. So this then begs the question, and is he scared of Anthony Joshua? I think he is. I think Tyson Fury is scared of Anthony Joshua. This is the reason why the fight hasn't still materialized yet. We're going to be waiting until we all get old, but this fight is not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, if we're not careful. Because of these promotions and all this nonsense going on. Oh, Wilder just won this court case to get the rematch against Tyson Fury. It's not happening. We've seen it on Instagram. Literally, ladies and gentlemen, this bout, probably fight against Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury would not happen, because what's going to end up materializing, or what's going to end up taking place, is when Fury fights Wilder and then possibly loses, maybe he gets knocked out by Deontay Wilder, the bronze bomber. then that makes it harder for him to fight Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua holds most of the belts. He's the WBA, IBF, IBO, WBA heavyweight champion of the world. So he's not going to fight Fury if he loses his belt. Obviously, the bout against Wilder would make sense for Anthony Joshua. So what the hell's going on? Like, what the hell's going on? So this is going to make it much harder for us to see the Anthony Joshua fight if Wilder then possibly beats Tyson Fury. I mean, we've seen it. Initially was waiting for Wilder to fight Anthony Joshua, but then Anthony Joshua picked the fight against Andy Ruiz, thinking that he was going to win, and then got knocked out in Madison Square, got TKO'd, and, well, technically the ref stopped it, in Madison Square Garden in front of a large crowd. Ladies and gentlemen. It's just... And then that held back the fight against Deontay Wilder. And here we are in 2021, and we haven't seen Fury fight. We haven't seen Anthony Joshua and Fury, the Anthony Joshua and Fury bout. Neither have we seen the Bronze Bomber or Anthony Joshua fight. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what's going on, but Andy Ruiz just quite recently defeated the guy called Ariola. What a roll with a gazer. I'm joking, but honestly, this weird sort of ego involved in boxing. I know it's a business, these promotions are businesses and everyone's trying to get the best deal, but you can always come to a conclusion where both parties are favored. Essentially, both parties get a deal that's going to work for their fighters and their businesses. But no, it's like, I want to be the A side, I want to be the B side. So what do we do? And just this morning, Eddie Hearn is the best promoter in boxing. You cannot complain. Eddie Hearn, you can't even deny that. He's the best promoter in boxing. Sky Sports Boxing had been with Matchroom Boxing for 20 years, but finally Eddie Hearn had decided that the best thing to do is go in with the Zone Boxing UK. So essentially, what's gonna happen is now, all of us, all we just need to do is pay a subscription fee and be able to watch all the fights in the UK, because Sky Sports makes it harder for a lot of people to watch these fights, to be honest, because not everyone has Sky Sports in the first place, and sometimes these boxing bouts actually do take place in Sky Sports box office, and most people can't afford that. So yeah, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I just feel like Tyson Fury is scared of Anthony Joshua, but I just wanted to get your opinions about it, to be honest, because that's the most important thing. I want to get your perspective about the bout between AJ and Tyson Fury, because this is literally the fight that should happen. This is going to be AJ, Anthony Joshua, and Tyson Fury, in my opinion, is the bout that's meant to happen. This is like the bout where, essentially, if we're not careful, it's going to be like Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis, where when the bout meant to take place, it never took place until it was late, like in 2002 when Tyson fought Lennox Lewis, but it was too late because Tyson was already out of his prime. That, no one was really as interested, but people still watched it. So if the fight between Tyson Fury and Lennox Lewis would have taken place a lot earlier, that would have been more interesting, just like Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. So if we're not careful as well, the same thing is going to take place between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. It's almost too late as well. Tyson Fury is 30 or 31. Anthony Joshua is almost the same age as well. So I don't know. What are your perspectives? Do you think Tyson Fury is scared of Anthony Joshua? I know scared is a big word to say. Maybe I might kind of listen. He is, because if he really wanted the fight to happen, he could have done a lot more. His promotion could have done a lot more. But they didn't. So there's a reason why he's not willing to fight Anthony Joshua, and he instead wants to fight Deontay Wilder over Anthony Joshua, because he probably thinks Wilder's going to be an easy fight. Maybe Wilder is an easy fight for Tyson Fury because he's beaten him already. He's never fought Anthony Joshua. But let's be careful here, because Wilder just need one thing to go right for him to reclaim his WBC heavyweight title. And once he reclaims that, it's a fight against Anthony Joshua, and a fight against Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. We ain't gonna see that ever again. We are never gonna see that again. So boxing fans, ladies and gentlemen, your opinions matter to me as much as anything else. It literally does. Your opinions matter to me as much anyway. So yeah, this is about to make, and Eddie Hearn is definitely the legend. He's the one who's making the most important fights. He's the one who's making the best fights happen, like the fights that we want to see. he's making the proposition for it. But then you've got Frank Warren and Bob Arum and all these weird promotions who aren't just adhering to basic philosophy of business. But no, I don't even know where to start with these morons, to be honest. But yeah, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you like taking the time and listening to the video to the end, and make sure to try and watch the video to all the way to the end, because it lets the algorithm know that you're engaged, and it further pushes my content up the ranks in terms of searchability. And make sure to subscribe as well, and with your notification bells turned on. And you know, I tend to mention this all the time. I tend to go, oh, make sure to turn it on where it goes all. Well, actually do that, because it's actually helpful, because when I post videos, then you're gonna see it, and you're gonna be the first person to see it. Isn't that a privilege? Isn't that a privilege? I'm joking, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate the support, though. I really do appreciate the support, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. If we're not careful, this bout is not gonna happen. It really isn't gonna happen ever, because, as I've mentioned, Wilder could beat Tyson Fury. Wilder doesn't have to be the kind of person just moving around and boxing constantly. He just needs one thing to go right for him to, again, reclaim his WBC heavyweight title. Whereas Tyson Fury needs to be alert and make sure that everything goes right for him from rounds 1 to round 12 to keep his belt, essentially. So yeah, what's your thought? I personally believe that Tyson Fury is scared of Anthony Joshua.